Hi, folks. Welcome back to Unsolicited Film Reviews. I'm your pal, Mickey. And oh boy, do we have a show for you tonight, dedicated to the house that I built. Please don't sue us, Disney. It's just your humble host here. I'm Zach Miller. He's Martin Cooke. And as our pal just said, we're doing Disney movies tonight. Specifically, the top 10 animated features given to us by the House of Mouse. But first, the box office is back, baby. Here's Martin with our box office report.
Yes, it is. So we've obviously been away for a week. So we can kind of think of two weekends, and both weekends that we've missed have been fantastic. So 2 weekends ago, Wicked for Good came out. It had 147 million opening, which was fantastic. And then last weekend, it's a little bit different because it was US Thanksgiving, so it was a 5 day weekend. But Zootopia really kicked ass in first place with 158.8 million weekend. It's now over 600 million worldwide, which is fantastic. Wicked for Good came in second last weekend with another 91 million. It's about coming up on 400 million worldwide. So not doing as well worldwide as Zootopia. Zootopia, one of the things that it was sort of a test case because they really weren't sure how it was going to do in China. And that was going to be a big determining factor in terms of what kind of budgets they give these movies anymore. Can big American movies still open in China? Well, at least for now, the answer is yes, because Zootopia did very well in China as well. Third place, Now You See Me, Now You Don't, another 10 million on the weekend. It's up about 190 million worldwide. Predator Badlands in fourth, another 6.6 million. It's about 175 million worldwide. So both those movies doing pretty well, actually. And then fifth place, The Running Man, not doing well, another 5.5 million, but it's only at 61 million worldwide at this point, and that's horrible considering its budget.
Yeah, and that's a shame because I loved Edgar Wright movies, but I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
I cannot bring myself to go out and see this on my
No, no, I just, yeah, I like Edgar Wright. I just have no interest in seeing this. Like, it's a remake that didn't need to be made.
yeah. So coming up this week, we have another five wide releases, and this is the season where movies are going to be coming hot and heavy
Yep.
because people are going to be want to be indoors because it's cold outside.
Yeah, it's
For
really cold here today, actually.
So first up, we have Five Nights at Freddy's 2, obviously the sequel to the hit horror movie. We have Fackham Hall, which looks interesting. I've heard it described as Downton Abbey meets The Naked Gun. So, interesting.
Uh, yeah.
Then we have 100 Nights of Hero. Never heard about this before today, but it's a historical fantasy loosely based on the Arabian folktale 1001 Nights.
Oh, okay.
It has Felicity Jones in it. Could be
Hmm.
interesting. Then we have Jujutsu Kaisen Execution. Apparently, this is another hugely successful anime franchise that I have no idea that it existed.
Yeah, so it'll make guaranteed it'll make 20 million or something.
Yeah. And then lastly, it's not really a new release, it's a repackage. It's Kill Bill, the whole bloody affair. It's just Kill Bill 1 and 2 shown back to back.
Yeah, which definitely doesn't have Paul Dano in it. Um,
So, Disney, the name and the brand is recognizable all around the world. It's right up there with McDonald's and Coca-Cola. Founded in Burbank, California in 1923 by brothers Walt and Roy Disney. The company has been captivating kids and adults alike for more than a century now. And personally, I've been looking forward to covering this topic since we started this podcast. But was Disney an influential part of your childhood, Martin?
oh yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, some of the movies and even like all the Disney merch and books and stuff when I was a kid, I did go to Disney World. Not Disneyland, but Disney World, the one in Orlando and Epcot Center and everything. So yeah, I mean it's pretty ubiquitous. It's hard to get away from. And yeah, like I think a lot of those fairy tales that we think of, the first introduction to those fairy tales is through Disney. And so,
Hmm.
it's not until later on that you realize, oh, actually, the stories aren't quite how Disney had them, or at least the original versions, or the Hans Christian Andersen, or some of the Brothers Grimm, or anything
Yeah.
else. But I think for a lot of people, that's the introduction, and it certainly was for me.
Yeah, that's a good point because that's where the term like Disneyfication came
Yeah.
from, where you're kind of smoothing over all the rough edges of like German fairy tale because like
Yeah, some of them are pretty dark and
yeah, like
horrible.
the kids almost always die at the
Yeah.
end, so, or the princesses or what have the main characters almost always die. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, this was a really tough list to put together, but a fun one. But
Yeah.
from Snow White to Zootopia 2, there are so many classics to choose from, and honestly, there aren't really that many wrong answers. So with that, let's kick off our top 10, and we're
Well,
gonna.
first of all, let's clarify what it is we're doing. So we're doing Disney animated feature films that had theatrical releases. So we're not doing any of the direct to home movies. Notably, we're not doing any Pixar movies because that technically is a different studio, even though it's now owned by Disney. We're doing just Disney Animation Studios movies. So yeah, there might be a bunch that you'll be like, oh, why isn't that there? It's probably because it's a Pixar movie. And rest assured, we will talk about Pixar movies at some point. But
Yeah,
we decided to do Disney animation because Zootopia 2 just came out.
yeah, that is a very important distinction. So, our coming in at number 10, we have Pocahontas from 1995. It is the wildly historically inaccurate retelling of the love affair between Pocahontas and John Smith. Pocahontas is the daughter of a Powhatan chief in Virginia. Shout out to Virginia. John Smith is an English explorer on the first ship to America, and it stars Irene Bedard in the titular role with Mel Gibson as Smith. Not his it won't be his last foray into the Mesoamerican native realm with a because he does Apocalypto you know a few years later. And
Yeah.
very young Christian Bale as the inept sailor Thomas. It's a nice little Easter egg. It has all the hallmarks of a classic Disney movie: a princess, animal sidekicks, star-crossed lovers, and really catchy musical numbers. What do you think of Pocahontas? I think you have a less
Yes, I
favorable.
do. I do. So this is one of the ones that didn't make my list. There's actually a couple that we're talking about that didn't make my list, but you had them higher up on yours, so they end up near the bottom of our top 10. Uh, for me, I mean, yeah, some of the animation is beautiful and the songs are good. You're right. But even setting aside the historical inaccuracies, I just don't find the love story in this one very compelling or interesting. Like they just basically they meet and then oh hey, all of a sudden they're
Well,
they're
isn't that the plot of a lot of these though?
well, some of them, but the better ones, as we'll get to, have a little bit more to it.
Okay, okay.
Um, and yeah, like I just don't, I just didn't really relate or anything to the characters, especially not the John Smith character. And yeah, so I just and also the villain, the main villain in here. I mean, look, cartoonish villains. These are cartoonish villains. This guy is even just too ridiculous for my tastes. Like he's just randomly starting to dig for gold just anywhere, as if that's how you find gold. Like he's just, oh, here, I'll just start digging holes. Like it just doesn't make any sense. So yeah, it's definitely one of my probably my least favorite on our list here, and one of my least favorite of the Disney theatrical releases. Although, yes, there are some things to appreciate about it, including the beautiful animation in parts. They use a lot of interesting like close-ups, which a lot of animated movies hadn't done before, like on the people's faces and stuff,
Mm.
almost as if it's a close-up in a live action. And I thought that's pretty interesting. Um, and another thing I guess we should say, it's kind of crazy to think that this is true, but at the time in the 90s, this was probably one of the earlier films to portray Indigenous Americans as something other than like savages or meaningless characters. So I guess, you know, I think these days we would look at it and say that it's pretty stereotypical images, but I think at the time it was at least a step forward. So there is that to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, baby steps. You're not
Yeah,
gonna have a
exactly.
giant cultural shift overnight, but yeah,
No.
yeah. I mean, I still enjoy it just for what it is, but yeah, I understand all your points.
All right, coming in at number nine, we've got Cinderella. So this was released in February 15th of 1950. So it was the first Disney animated movie, first Disney movie of any sort in the 50s. And by this point, in large part, it's kind of hard to think of this right now, but in large part because of the Second World War, Disney was having major financial problems by this point, by 1950.
And
By
that's
the
gonna be
by
a
the
recurring theme.
yeah, by the late 40s, really. And so they decided to return to what originally worked for them, an animated fairy tale feature. And this, it worked. Cinderella really helped turn the tide for them. It was an instant commercial and critical success. It became the biggest hit for Disney since Snow White, the very first animated feature. It got two Oscar nominations, and in total, again, for these old movies, it's kind of hard to crunch the box office numbers, but it's made around $100 million on a $2.9 million budget. But then also, you know, the thing that you can't really uh, count in terms of the box office numbers is merchandise money. That
Oh
also
God.
helps Disney. And so just like Cinderella, everything. And Disney, Walt Disney himself and the Disney Corporation were probably the first company to really make merchandising of art a thing. And so, yeah, Cinderella really helped turn them around. This one, well, yeah, let's get to you first. What did you think of, or what do you think of Cinderella? I'm sure we've seen them all these before.
Yeah. This was literally the first movie I saw in theaters. It was a re-release when I was 2 or 3.
Oh, wow.
I don't even remember it. But it just my mom told me that was the first movie she took me to. So I don't know if that really counts, but
Yeah. Yeah, sure. It counts.
but yeah, it's the classic, princess, the well, no, not princess, but the downtrodden stepchild of an aristocrat winds up just through her sheer goodness ascending to being the princess of this kingdom. And classic talking animal friends.
Yeah.
And Gus is adorable, the little mouse. And the cat named Lucifer is
Yeah.
wild. Is wild. And the poor old dog, I forgot what his name was, but always chasing Lucifer around. And yeah, it's just it hits all the bullet points you want in a Disney movie. It's not the best, but it's definitely watchable and rewatchable, and as you said, just completely infinitely marketable.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. This was the other one that I didn't have on my list. And I think rewatching it again, I think my instincts were right in that I probably I wouldn't have it on my list again now having watched them all. And the reason why is because the story is actually pretty skimpy.
Mm.
Like half of the movie really is just the cat chasing around the mice. It's like scene after scene of these mice like running around and trying to hide from this cat. Like that's so much of this movie. So I will say something that maybe a tough take here, but I think this is one of the few where the live action version actually is probably an improvement on the animated movie. And that
I,
can't be said for many of them, but I think in this case, they really did the one with Lily James, they did a much better job of like filling out the story and making it interesting in that way.
yeah, I actually completely agree. And yeah, both those points where they miss on a lot of the live action ones, and might want to do a best live action, or yeah, best live action Disney remakes at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just it's basic, but when I compiled my list, I was trying to just like mix in classics and the ones that I like the most because like I'm such a Disney file, and it was hard to separate the best from the ones that I like the most. So,
It's so hard, yeah, because all this stuff goes back to childhood, and there's such an
mhm.
emotional attachment to certain movies. Yeah, for me, in terms of yeah, and mixing the old ones with the new ones, for me, the old one that I had on my list was Bambi, but I
Mhm.
didn't go back and rewatch it, so I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't hold the same place in my heart if I had rewatched it this week as well. I don't know.
You just gotta keep it locked away and keep the memory alive.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so coming in at number eight, we have The Little Mermaid in 1989. It's really the movie that saved Disney. Again,
Again.
yeah, after the very lackluster 70s and 80s, Disney animation was once again on the brink of collapse. Little Mermaid absolutely changed everything. It kicked off what's now known as the Disney Renaissance. It's a period from 1989 to 1999 with hit after hit and classics that the studio hadn't seen since its heyday in the 40s. Anyway, Little Mermaid follows Ariel, who is the Little Mermaid, who falls in love at first sight, as per usual, with a human Prince Eric. Her dad, King Triton, disapproves, to say the least. It's another star-crossed lovers trope, but it always seems to work. Time tested. It was a critical and box office hit with massively successful musical numbers like Part of Your World, Under the Sea, Kiss the Girl. Just it's so catchy.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. I'm just bopping along, just thinking of some of the right now. Under the sea right now. Under the sea.
also marked the Disney debut of composer Alan Menken, an absolute legend in the industry and who composed many of the hits of the Disney Renaissance. What are your thoughts on Little Mermaid? I don't
Yeah,
think did
all of that stuff, and yeah, Little Mermaid, as you say, it was the one that really kicked off the Renaissance for them. Interestingly, when I was looking into some of these, it's actually the last Disney animated feature to use hand painted cell animation,
mm,
though. So it was right after this that they changed to more digital style animation. But that's interesting that even up to 1989, they were doing like hand painted cells for this movie. And you mentioned Alan Menken and some of the songs. The songs are fantastic. I will say one of the songs, the one that the chef is singing as he's like, it's basically Be Our Guest. Like it's pretty much the same tune. Le poisson, le poisson.
mm.
It's basically the same tune as Be Our Guest. So Disney kind of copied themselves a little bit there when they moved on to Beauty and the Beast. Although I think Be Our Guest is a better song. But but yeah, no, this is a fun movie and definitely a worthy inclusion on our list. And yeah, just it was a great way for them to kick off this new wave. And probably two people that we should mention in addition to the others that you've mentioned are Michael Eisner, who was
Hmm.
CEO of Disney at the time, and Jeffrey Katzenberg, who was the head of Disney Studios. And those two guys, probably more than anyone else, were responsible for really like changing the culture of what was happening at Disney Animation and branching out and bringing in people with a whole bunch of new ideas, new composers, and really changing the fortunes of the company.
Yep, 100%.
All right. So now we move on to Frozen. So this is an interesting one again because yeah, Disney's kind of gone in waves in terms of their success over the years. And so after the Renaissance, which is as you pointed out went to about 1999, Disney's movies had kind of fallen off a bit, and they'd been totally overtaken by Pixar in terms of Disney animation. Um, Although then in the 2010s, so there was a decade that was a bit weak. 2010s, they started to turn things around again with movies like Tangled and Wreck-It Ralph. And that's where Frozen comes in because it was inspired by Hans Christian Andersen's The Snow Queen, but it was an idea that had gone through development hell at Disney for a while before they
Yeah,
finally cracked what the story was that they wanted.
yeah. Even Walt Disney himself was a fan of this fairy tale, and he
Yeah.
was trying to push it through. So that's how long it was in
Yeah,
development
yeah.
hell. But
There's a couple like that on our list that, if you've got an idea and it isn't working out for you, for anybody who's an aspiring filmmaker or writer, just come back to it every now and then. Eventually, maybe it'll work. Um, but eventually, they started to come up with what they thought was going to work, and that was helped by a couple of people from the team that did Tangled came over and started working on Frozen as well. And so it was released on November 27th, 2013. And by now we know just a massive, massive hit. It became the highest grossing animated movie ever, which has since been passed. It won two Oscars, including Best Animated Feature. Shockingly, the first time that a Disney animated movie had won that category, and the category started in 2001.
hmm
So 12 years went by before Disney, like the the originators of feature animation, actually won for the Oscar for best animated feature. And it spawned, millions of types of kids merchandise and Halloween costumes, and probably even more unfortunate karaoke performances. Uh, as Let It Go became just the earworm that was stuck in everybody's head for about 2 years, whether they wanted it or not. But yeah, just one of the biggest hits that Disney Animation has ever had.
Yeah, so I should have said this at the top of the show, but there will be spoilers in
Mm,
this podcast because
yes.
the youngest of these movies is 9 years old and the oldest is almost 100. So if you haven't seen it by now, then I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, as far as Frozen goes, I love the originality of it. As far as first of all, having a quirky main character princess,
Mhm.
because like let's be honest, Elsa steals the show, but Anna is really the protagonist.
Yeah.
And so I love that how she goes through the whole thing. Like she sees Prince Hans, falls in love immediately. They have this musical number together, and you think it's just going to be this generic Disney plot line. And the twist is that he turns out to be this son of a bitch douchebag that's
Yeah.
just wants to kill Elsa and Mariana. And so it really turns out to be about the love between two sisters and not just a
Mhm.
prince and princess. And I thought that was a really cool message the first time I saw it, and just a really interesting um turn on Disney movies been watching for almost 100 years at that point. And I love Sven the reindeer.
Yeah.
Josh Gad is fantastic as Olaf
Oh
the
yeah.
snowman. And obviously this came out in 2011 when I was an adult, but it's still
2013. Yeah.
oh yeah, it's 2013, my bad. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's still just a very touching story, and it just goes to show the power that Disney and the artists that they employ have the ability to touch people of all ages.
Yeah. Yeah. And we haven't even touched on the animation itself, which is just really beautiful. With some of the by this point they're doing, computer animation stuff. But to be able to do ice crystals that
Mm.
way and that well was just kind of groundbreaking when this first came out, and is really beautiful. And you're right. I had written down in my notes that it subverts expectations in a number of ways that people had of Disney movies. As you point out, the love at first sight, nope, not quite. The it's true love's kiss that's gonna save her. Nope, actually, no, it's the act of love between sisters. A bunch of those kind of subverting expectations moments throughout this movie that was really kind of, as you say, original. And another just interesting thing, that, Kristen Bell plays Anna in this, and or does the voice work of Anna. And I always liked Kristen Bell, but before this movie, I had no idea that she was that kind of singer. That,
Mm.
I thought she was just, oh, but no, that she could actually she could actually belt out a tune. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, the it's weird to say the chemistry between two actors because they're in a studio, a recording studio, but yeah, the chemistry between Kristen Bell and Idina Menzel is
Mm,
just you can see it on screen, which is
yeah,
so strange in an animated movie, but it really does exist. And
yeah, yeah, really
everything
touching.
everything from do you want to build a snowman and of course the dead parent trope. That's another
Yes, yes, right, of course. Yeah.
there always has to be a dead parent or two in these
Yeah.
movies.
That's it.
So you thirsty?
Yeah, let's do it. All right, so for today's drink break, Googled Disney themed cocktails and came up with a lot of very childish or I'm not sure how to describe them.
Gay.
Fruity cocktails, gay fruity cocktails.
Yeah,
And
we
so
can just call him, yeah, we can just call him
we're gonna do one of those, and
gay.
it's called the Cinderella. Um, so this one requires it because so this is an excuse to use some blue curacao,
Mm,
which I don't often do.
yeah,
So,
about yeah, this much less.
oh wow, okay, yeah, you've got way more than me. So what you need is, and I'm also going to put up a picture of what this is supposed to look like according to the website where I got this from. And rest assured, mine is not going to look anything like that. I don't have any of the fancy sparkly sugar. I don't have any edible butterflies that I'm putting on this. But what you need is 2 ounces, actually, of blue curacao,
Okay.
which, yeah, sounds like a lot. I'm just gonna find a better way to pour this syrup because I'm pouring around my microphone. But there we go. I'm gonna bump it. So 2 ounces of blue curacao, 1 ounce of vodka, um, and then so yeah, here's the vodka, and then it claims. I'm putting mine in a shaker. 1 ounce of lemon juice.
Got mine fresh squeeze as usual.
I don't, as usual. I've just got one of these little things that I'm using as for my lemon juice. And I put the ice in my shaker though before I go too far. And an ounce of lemon juice. And then it calls for an ounce of simple syrup, which to me is just way too much simple syrup.
Yeah,
So
this is like an 18-year-old girl drink.
yeah. So I'm gonna put in like maybe half an ounce of simple syrup.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Even that's quite a bit. Yeah, this is going to be a very sweet drink, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll see how this works out.
So you shake it up because then it does actually call for a splash of club soda, but I think that's obviously best done at the end after you've shaken things up.
Yep.
So put my lid on here, shake this up.
I left my stirrer across the room, so
Okay.
like
I'm
two
always
seconds.
amazed at how the mics that we use they get rid of all the extraneous noise. So when I'm shaking this, I notice when I rewatch these videos that there's no noise of the shaker, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah,
So
it
it
cuts
just
out
looks
all the
ridiculous
ambient
that I'm
noise. It's
just
wild.
okay. And I decided to go with one of these glasses just because I got one of these. I want to use them. And that's similar to what's on the picture.
All right, this is my final product. This looks like it could be a an aerial too.
Yeah, yeah, it really does.
The Under the Sea.
or actually something from Frozen too, because
Oh
it's
yeah,
kind of like
okay, yeah,
the light blue or
yeah. It's
whatever flavor.
covering several movies here.
So yeah, so then it wants a splash of club soda, which is probably good just to break it up a bit so it's not quite as sweet.
Yeah, I put a bunch of ice in mine just to balance that out a little bit too.
All right. So let us try this. The Cinderella. Let's give us a try. Mm.
Okay, that's not great.
Yeah, it's very sweet and very kind of yeah. It's okay. I don't mind it, but it's not terrible.
I mean, don't get me
I
wrong.
mean
Don't,
it's not great. I probably would have if I have more room in my glass as we go down, I might put some more club soda in it as I go just to keep diluting it a bit.
yeah, that's a very sorority girl drink.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But yeah,
Don't get me wrong.
it's
I'm
a
gonna
Disney
finish it.
princess drink.
Yeah, I will be finishing it, but
Oh yeah,
and
for sure. I'll find it. I'll finish it.
but yeah, rimming it with sugar and putting edible glitter and a butterfly. Oh my God,
Oh
no,
man,
no,
that
thank
would make it just.
you. We are men.
Uh,
Okay, so we'll
so
be
yeah,
sipping.
so I guess maybe if you like have kids' birthday parties and the adults want to drink something, you could make something like this. But even then, okay, let's move
Mm,
on.
yes, let's. Okay. So at number six, we have Snow White and the Seven Dwarves from 1937. I mean, it's the OG. Princess, Prince, Evil Queen, True Love's Kiss. It has it all. Made an astounding $418 million in 1937 on a $1.5 million budget, which is also a lot. And Walt Disney basically mortgaged everything he had on this movie, and the risk obviously paid off because we're still talking about it
Yeah.
today. But to put that number in perspective, adjusted for inflation, 418 million is 2.3 billion dollars. So for more, actually a lot more in-depth coverage, see part two of our 1920s century series on Spotify. Uh, it's pretty
1930s.
30s.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, fact checker. Appreciate it. All right. Yeah. But pretty basic. Evil Queen kicks out her stepdaughter, and she finds shelter with the seven dwarves and all her little animal friends. And, the dwarves wind up chasing the evil queen as a witch into a cliff, and it's very heavily implied that vultures eat that bitch at the end.
Yeah, it kind of is. Yeah.
And then she eats Snow White eats the poisoned apple, falls into a coma, and the prince comes and does a little bit of necrophilia and saves the day.
Yeah, that is funny seeing it again. They're like, oh, they couldn't bring themselves to bury her. You might want to do that, but they put her instead in some sort of glass and gold coffin. So that just magically solves everything in Disney movies. It's kind of hard to look at this movie now and consider the impact that it would have had 88 years ago when it came
Hmm.
out. Like, just think though that just the visuals alone, the vibrant colors. This is 1937. Everything is still in black and white at this point. I mean, we're still 2 years away from Wizard of Oz with that
Yeah,
color in that
yeah,
movie. So going to see this must have been just astounding for everybody. And also, we're only 10 years on from the Jazz Singer, so all the singing and everything is still fairly new in movies at this point. So you can see why this movie had the impact that it did. And you're right when you said that Disney basically mortgaged his house and everything. He put everything on the line to the point that everybody in Hollywood was calling this Disney's folly. They thought
yep.
that this was, again, put ourselves in the shoes of somebody in 1937. Nobody had ever done an animated feature film before. It had never been done. People thought it was ridiculous that, oh, well, maybe they're good for jokes for, 5 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, but a whole feature film that was just unheard of. And yet the animation, I mean, you can tell that Disney just put everything he had into it. Not only in terms of money, but just he obsessed over every little detail, and it really shows up. Like, you think of some of the animation, considering the work that it was all hand painted that went into it, like the shots with the candles and the shadows as they're in the
Mm.
dwarves' house, the nighttime shots, like as you said, when the evil evil queen gets knocked off with the lightning and the rain, and like that's just incredible stuff when you think about it. But yeah, if this movie hadn't been successful, not only wouldn't we probably wouldn't hear about it today, we probably wouldn't really think of Disney, right?
Mm.
Because this would have sunk the entire company.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's pretty hard. It's pretty amazing to think that he staked it all on this. But that's why I think he was so obsessive about it. And yeah, it was obviously so impactful for a number of reasons.
Yeah, he was one of the true genius entrepreneurs in America in the 20th century, and I mean that's undeniable. I mean,
Yeah.
and to your point about the animation, like the even like the movement of the animals, like the doing like deer and squirrels and rabbits and everything, and
Yes.
we take that so for granted these days. But I mean, he would send people out into into like either zoos or animal encampments, just to study every single movement, and
Yeah.
he would not be satisfied until everything was absolutely perfect. And I'm sure it was a bitch to work for him, but the final product speaks for itself, and that's what genius entrepreneurs, inventors, artists, that's what they do.
Yeah. And that's
They
why it
have
still stands the test of time to this day. Still a very interesting movie to watch.
Yeah, and if you even if you look from like if Snow White to say like Little Mermaid, there are innovations, sure, but there's not that much of a
No,
difference.
no.
And that's an interesting thing too, because I promise I'd keep I promise I keep my anecdotes about childhood to a minimum here, because I have so much nostalgia about these movies. But if you threw in like a Snow White VHS, I'm dating myself, obviously, and then you threw in a Beauty and the Beast VHS, like I wouldn't be able to tell if I was like 6, 7, 8 years old where
Mm,
which one came first. So yeah, it's an amazing feat of artistic achievement.
yeah. All right. So now we're jumping really forward in time to Zootopia. And this was released in March of 2016. So, almost what is that? Almost 80 years since Snow White. This movie was a huge hit. I mean, I talked a little bit about Frozen and how it kind of helped revive their franchise again after some less than stellar efforts in the early 2000s. Zootopia really was again a massive hit, very popular, grossed over $1 billion. It was the fourth highest grossing film of 2016. It won the Best Animated Feature Oscar again. It was also named one of the top 10 best films of 2016 by AFI. A sentiment I heartily agreed with. It was one of my top movies of that year as well. Um, Great voice work by Jennifer Goodwin, Jason Bateman, Idris Elba, Jenny Slate, and a whole bunch of others, including Shakira in a performance as Gazelle, this this animal. For anybody who hasn't seen it, which would be surprising, but for anybody who hasn't seen it and doesn't know what it's about, it's basically an animal utopia, Zootopia, where this world where all these animals live together, but they've come together and they've figured out a way to set aside their differences of predator or prey, and they all the big success story of this experiment is the city of Zootopia, where they all live in relative harmony until, of course, stuff starts to happen. Um, this more than anything else, I think this is one of the most thematically brilliant movies that Disney Animation has ever done, because both the individual and kind of society-wide themes are so well meshed. Like it's not just, there's some individual themes in terms of, in don't discriminate against people versus individual by characteristics. Like, don't let anyone tell you what you can and can't do. There's that kind of theme, but that blends perfectly into the broader themes of basically racial discrimination. I've said this, you've heard me say this before, but I think it's one of the best movies on race relations of the last 20 years, and I
Yeah.
stick to that.
Yeah, yeah, because we were still in film school at the time, and you saw this, I think, opening night or opening weekend, and I hadn't gone out to see it yet. You came in, and in film school, we always talk about what we saw over the weekend, and you said it's the best, it's the best movie on racial relations in the last 20 years, and I cracked up. I was dying, but then I went and saw it, and you were completely vindicated. But it's just so funny that a Disney movie about these
Yeah.
animals living together. But yeah, you are completely right about that. And yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, no, and just my final comment. Just the DMV scene with the sloths is one of the best comedic animation scenes I think of all time. And I think that's why I remember one of the early trailers for this movie was just that scene. And that makes a lot of sense because you see that scene, you're like, oh fuck, I gotta go see this movie, which is probably what I said and went opening weekend.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was one of the greatest comedic indictments of a government-run institution. 'Cause, yeah, I don't know what the equivalent of the DMV is in Canada, but anybody in America who's been to the DMV just knows the pain of walking into that
Yeah, I
godforsaken.
had to go every year in California because every year my student visa would renew, and that also meant I had to renew my driver's license. Man,
Yeah,
what a pain in the
any
ass.
anybody who's gone into that one of those godforsaken buildings just knows the people there are so miserable and so, so slow because they don't have any incentive to do
Yeah,
anything.
at least Flash is happier. Oh, one funny note about that. Obviously, we just talked about Kristen Bell in Frozen. The friend of Flash's that he like the other sloth that
Hmm.
he tells the joke to, that was actually voiced by Kristen Bell. So they got her in there for
Oh,
like one or two lines just because obviously she was part of a big a big movie of theirs and she did them a solid by coming back for one line.
yeah, yeah. I never knew that. That's a good Easter egg. But yeah, it was so good. I think it has some of the more adult themed jokes in it
Mm,
as far as Disney goes. Like the Godfather parody scene was
yes.
hilarious.
Yeah.
And there's so much in there for people of all ages. Like kids love it, adults love it for different reasons, but it's so just well put together. And is this the only one on here that's not a musical? Yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah, it's the only one in here that doesn't have any musical numbers.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
besides Shakira, but,
Yeah, you're right. Huh. That's interesting. Yeah.
which is probably why you ranked it number one on your list.
That's possible.
Just total subliminally.
That's a for anybody who hasn't caught up on our episode on musicals, you know my general thoughts on musicals, not all the time.
Yeah, so you had this number one. I didn't even have it on my top 10 because
Yeah.
it's just and I do love it. It just wasn't in my brain to put
I
it.
might have gotten a bit ahead of myself putting this number on because I rewatched this before I made my list in advance of going to see
Mm.
Zootopia 2 that just came out, and I just loved it again as much on rewatch. So still though, I even on doing the list right now today, I would still have it in my top three, no question.
And Judy Hopps is just so fucking adorable.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
with her purple eyes and the way the animators work her ears, like when she's excited, they like pop, they spring up, and
Yeah.
whenever she gets depressed or sad, they kind of just droop down. And I'm just every
Yeah.
time I'm just like,
Amazing.
oh, it just hits me right in the feels. I love Judy Hopps.
And when she gets like anxious or nervous, like her leg starts
Yeah.
tapping up and down and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic. Like character work, basically.
Yeah, that goes back to the DMV scene because when Flash is taking so long to stamp the stamp, she just starts tapping her like and that just adds to the comedy of the scene. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I should have put Zootopia in this list, but it made it to number 5, so we're all
Yeah.
good. So, still in 2016 though, later in November, it's Moana coming in at number 4. It's the first Disney movie set in Polynesia. This is when they were really starting to branch out. Pixar beat them to it, but we're talking about Disney animation. Stars, I'm sorry, I'm gonna butcher her name. Aulil Car Aulil Caravello as Moana. I'm so sorry. And The Rock as Demigod Maui.
Yeah, that one's a little easier.
Yeah. With songs by Lin-Manuel Miranda, didn't get a tongue twister that time, and a number sung by Jermaine Clement of Flight of the Conchords fame.
Yeah.
You really can't go wrong with this movie. And again, huge hit. Wasn't quite as successful as Zootopia initially. I think it's become more of a classic than Zootopia since then, but it still made $690 million on a $175 million budget or so. Also nominated for Best Animated Feature, so Disney had a very strong 2016. And yeah, so Moana is this daughter of a Polynesian chieftain who, she wants to go see the world, and she finds out that her ancestors used to be, sea travelers, and she's not allowed in the sea, but the ocean kind of just literally pushes her into this voyage, and she takes her kind of, uh, let's see, mentally ill chicken along with her.
Yeah. Haha.
And hey, hey.
Hey, hey, right. Yeah.
And so, yeah, so she goes on this journey because there's no food left in her village, and they're all gonna die basically if she doesn't go and find another island or another source of food. So she leaves and discovers how to sail, discovers herself, and finds Maui, a demigod who's been stranded on this island for 1,000 years, who's lost his hook, which I have had.
There we go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been wearing this since I carved it in 2009 in New Zealand. I'm not just one of those douchebag white guys that wears a shark tooth or anything. He's actually went to a Maori tribe and carved this out of deer bone. Anyway, uh, yeah, they go on adventures. Maui tries to kill her several times by just tossing her into the ocean to die. The ocean keeps bringing her back, and there's no romance in this movie, which is very unique for a Disney movie. And they go find the heart of Te And another cool twist in this one is that the villain is actually just a tortured hero, and
Mhm.
this mountain had something stolen from her that Maui stole from her, and that was her heart. So she turns into like this lava monster. But as soon as her heart is put back in, she turns into this island, and everything is at peace. You're
Yeah,
welcome.
this one it's pretty amazing to think that these both came out in 2016, that they were working on both Zootopia and Moana in Disney Animation Studios around the same time. That's pretty incredible. And I think you're right that this one has had more resonance, certainly with kids, and that's probably because of the music.
Hmm.
I mean, the soundtrack for this one was maybe not quite Frozen levels, but the soundtrack for this one was just everywhere with anybody that I knew who had kids around this time. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
if
for
you're in a
sure.
car with kids anywhere in like 2016, 17, 18, the Moana soundtrack was playing. And and for good reason. I mean, they're great songs. Lin-Manuel Miranda, keeps knocking out bangers, and it's just a very catchy tune. But also, as you said, the story, it's not a love story. It's really about this girl finding her own strength and her own place in the world. And Disney was really starting to hit its stride with great female characters at this point.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
they'd had Tangled, and some of the others, and yeah, and Frozen, obviously. And this was just another one in the line of that, where it was great female characters that didn't seem forced. I mean, I think in recent years, some of the criticism has been that, oh, okay, seems a bit forced what you're trying to do. These
Hmm.
ones were just great characters on their own.
Yeah.
And so that's part of what made Moana, yeah, such a compelling movie.
Yeah, another thing is that she's and this is the kind of the trend that Anna from Frozen started, but Moana is flawed and awkward,
Yes,
and
yeah,
she's not this perfect princess that
yeah,
stands straight up. Like she's always like stumbling over herself and like fumbling over her words and just not succeeding every time she tries to do something, which makes her so endearing and so just so cute and adorable. And I just love that about her.
yeah. All right, so now we're down to the top three, and the top three are all coming from the Disney Renaissance that we've already talked about. And at number three, we've got Beauty and the Beast. So this is the third of the Disney Renaissance movies, if after Little Mermaid and Rescuers Down Under. Excuse me. It was released on November 22nd, 1991. And this is another one of these ones that had been in the Disney kind of machine forever. This was another story that Walt Disney tried unsuccessfully to adapt back in the late 30s after Snow White. He wanted to take a stab at this story, and then in the early 50s again, and just couldn't make it work. Um, but the story kind of kept floating around in Disney, and by the late 80s, early 90s, they decided to take another stab at it. And this is another one where, we talked about Michael Eisner and Jeffrey Katzenberg, and they really played an interesting role because Michael Eisner really pushed for them to hire a screenwriter for the first time. Now, that may sound a little funny, but when you think about how animation was done before that, a lot of it was just storyboarding a whole bunch of scenes. You would get images and then kind of put a story together. This was actually the very first time that Disney went with a screenwriter with a full script. Um, and I think it really shows.
Hmm.
So Jeffrey Katzenberg hired Linda Wolverton to provide an initial script, and yeah, as I say, it shows in the final product. It's one of the better stories that you find of the Disney animated movies, especially up to this point. And also, again, this was a huge hit. It was the third biggest movie of 1991, and it was the first animated film to gross over $100 million in the US. It was also a big critical hit. It was the very first animated movie to win the Golden Globe for Best Motion Picture, musical or comedy, that little category, and the first ever to be nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. So it's, big critical and commercial hit. It did win the Oscar for Best Score and Best Song being Beauty and the Beast, the title track. Yeah. Your thoughts on Beauty and the Beast, Zach?
It's funny because I had such an aversion to this movie as a young kid
Hmm.
because there was like it was too girly. It was like
Okay.
and we'll get to this, but like you like the girls loved Beauty and the Beast, the guys liked Aladdin.
Okay.
And like the girls would have like the Beauty and the Beast backpacks and the dolls and everything, and the guys would have the Aladdin lunchboxes and the action figures and the play sets and yada yada yada. So, um, since then, however, I've come to appreciate this as the most beautifully made Disney movie of all time. From the opening sequence with the Enchanted Castle and the narration and the animation and all the way to the very end, it's just such a flawless animated film. And just I mean it's a beautiful piece of art. I mean, if you
Hmm.
just isolate it like that, it's amazing. And the voice cast is incredible. It also has a couple of my favorite Disney jokes, and one of them is from Codsworth, the clock, who says when when the beast asks him what women want, he's like, "Oh, you can offer him the usual things: chocolates, flowers, promises you don't intend to keep." Like, and of course, as a kid, that's going completely over your
Yeah,
head.
yeah.
But that was just so hilarious to me. And another one is when Beast shows Belle into this library that's like 40 stories high. She's like, "This is the most books I've ever seen." Like, well, fucking obviously, you're from a you're from a little French village
Yeah. Where you
with
borrow
a
books from the guy who has 10 books.
yeah. And I mean, I mean, I know Disney's like meant to exaggerate things, but that library is just so fucking massive. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
it's like the Oxford Library or something where you need like a 20-story ladder just to get to the books. So yeah, it's funny, it's beautiful. Gaston is an incredible villain.
Yes, yeah.
Um, she has talking sidekicks, and musical numbers are fantastic. From Provincial Life to Be Our Guest, as we already pointed out earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, uh, great ending too, because it has that like just rising, and again, Alan Menken just rising to the very climax, and then just ha. Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, Beauty and the Beast is great.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely the best of all the love stories
Mm.
that of all the Disney movies. We've said, a few of them are just, oh, love at first sight, and then, not that much happens, and then oh, they kiss at the end. That's great. This one is a true story. That's a love story, and that's one of the things that makes it so good.
I would probably disagree that it's the best love story.
Oh, really? Okay. Interesting.
Excuse me,
What would
because I
you have a
mean,
better love story?
we're about to talk about it, but
Oh, okay.
I just think it was like a little bit of Stockholm syndrome.
Oh.
He
All
does
right, fair enough.
he does imprison her and gives her the ultimatum that it's either her or her dad that
Yeah,
has to stay
that's
in the
true.
castle.
It is a little Stockholm syndrome.
But it is good anyway. Excuse me, got a little Cinderella drink stuck in my throat. Oh no. So number two, 1992's Aladdin, another entry into the Disney Renaissance era, and as I kind of alluded to, my personal favorite as a kid. Unlike the majority of these movies, the main character isn't a princess, but a peasant, aka a street rat, in pursuit of a better life. Again, Alan Menken just pumping out bangers left and
Yeah,
right with A Whole New World, Prince Ali, and uh,
never
Never
had a
Had a
friend like
Friend
me.
Like Me.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing musical.
Yeah, some of the best brass in all of Disney that never had a friend like me part.
But let's be honest, Robin Williams seals the show as the
Yeah.
genie. And so Aladdin's a peasant in some nondescript, just Arabian city called Agrabah, and he wants a better life for him and his pet monkey Abu. And, he fawns over Jasmine, the princess of Agrabah, and they're all in league against the Vizier, Jafar, another great Disney villain. But yeah, the Sultan, of course, only wants Jasmine to marry a prince. Jafar throws Aladdin into the Cave of Wonders, and he comes out with the genie, and he becomes a prince, but not really a prince. And they wind up together and fly on a magic carpet, and all is well with the world. Jafar is defeated until the shitty sequel, Return of Jafar, that was straight to VHS, and
Which I've never actually seen.
and all's well with Agrabah.
Yeah, so this movie, I mean, you rightly pointed out that Robin Williams is the main attraction here. And that's not only notable for the movie itself, but I think where animated movies went, because he was so brilliant and just like all encompassing in this movie. They obviously had to, because Robin Williams just would ad lib so much stuff. They had to really work around him as they were making this movie. Like, can you imagine animators being like, "Oh, come on, man, fuck, what did he do now?" Like, he must have just been riffing off stuff. And they're like, okay, maybe we can draw this. But the thing is, what it started was really a trend of famous people doing voice work for animated features, which continues to this day. You know, obviously set the stage for people as big as Tom Hanks to do Toy Story a couple of years later, stuff like that. But think about before this point, most of the voices in animated movies weren't that well known. You know, they
No,
weren't
we
big
haven't.
actors and actors
Yeah, we
and
haven't even
actresses.
mentioned any of them.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, there were people who did their work, kind of went home, it was a job. This was the movie that really changed things in terms of recognizable voices being brought into animated movies. Also, you know, in this movie, Gilbert Gottfried was an inspired choice to
Yes,
play
Iago.
Yago. Just perfect for voice work, and just made, you know, up to the level of humor and so many scenes with Jafar. But yeah, that's it's a great movie for a number of reasons that you've already pointed out. But I also wanted to mention just how important it was in terms of what happened later and where we are today in terms of what animated movies are.
Yeah, also the screenplay was by Ted Elliott and Terry Rossio, which is my favorite screenplay
Yes.
duo of all
Yeah.
time. I mean, they did everything from Pirates of the Caribbean to Shrek, so they're the number one screenwriting duo of all time, and for good reason. And so to your point on Beauty and the Beast, I think this is the best love story because they do fall in love when Aladdin is masquerading as a prince, but even after that facade all falls away and he, defeats Jafar and the Sultan blesses their marriage and everything, that they're still in love. So it's a lot more organic, I think, as far as Disney
Oh,
goes, at least.
okay, okay. No, I would say that still that Beauty and Beast is more organic. Like this one is still, I mean, it's good, but it's still basically it all happens on a magic carpet ride, which is, you know, fine. You know, I might fall in love on a magic carpet ride where you're seeing every wonder of the world in the same night. But but I think, you know, Beauty and Beast kind of takes their time with the love story in a way that a lot of the other movies don't.
Yeah, but even when he's not a prince anymore, she still wants him.
Even when he's not a beast anymore, he's still
Well, that's an upgrade.
yeah, I suppose. Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is. Have
All
you
right.
seen that just that SNL skit from a few years ago where it's like, wait a minute, you think I'm the beast? Where the beast is like, yeah, Beauty and the Beast. Anyway,
No, I didn't see that.
it's quite funny.
Okay. All right. Down to
All
number
right,
one.
so that takes us to number one, and you can probably guess where we are now, and that's The Lion King. So this was released in June 24th, 1994. An interesting note in a second about that release date. And this was probably, well, undoubtedly the pinnacle of the Disney Renaissance. This is the fifth movie in the Renaissance, and really the highest point for Disney animation before Pixar kind of started stealing their thunder with Toy Story, which was released the following year. And this one, like a lot of the others, it was a very long process coming up with this movie. Not decades like some of the others, but at least in terms of the actual like really hard work, this one was going on for about 5 years, or 6 years really, where they had all these different ideas of what they wanted to do. And some people thought it should be like a nature documentary style. Some people
Mm.
wanted a movie that didn't have singing and wasn't a musical, so it would have joined Zootopia in that front. Um, and it went through a whole bunch of writers over the time, including Linda Wolverton, who they brought in, who had done Beauty and the Beast, and she did one of the early scripts of it. They even, took people on trips to Kenya for inspiration, which, man, Disney Animation must have been a fantastic place to work at. I mean, a lot of pressure, but oh, where are you going on your work trip? Oh, I'm just going to Kenya for a couple of weeks to like
Yeah.
look around and see animals in the savannah. Okay. Um, Eventually, though, Michael Eisner and Jeffrey Katzenberg, they kind of settled on a Shakespearean story involving lions and with a few aspects from a few different Shakespearean plays thrown in there, but largely Hamlet. So it's very much they kind of focused the story on a kind of son coming back to avenge his father when his uncle has killed his father, to be king. Um, and yeah, this one, as I said, it was the pinnacle. This was the highest grossing film of 1994. For a while there, it was the second highest grossing film of all time, behind Jurassic Park. It was, for those of you who might not know how important this was. This is very important in the 90s. It was the best-selling home video of all time.
What's that?
Uh, yeah, exactly. VHS, these tapes with ribbon. It was very confusing. It won two Oscars and followed up Beauty and the Beast by winning the Golden Globe for Best Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy. And I know you've got a lot of thoughts on this. Let me just toss it to you right now.
Yeah, I promise I wouldn't wax super poetic on this one, but no movie has made me cry as frequently and as much over the years as The Lion King. The death of Mufasa just broke me as a kid, and still to this day it gets me, and it's very emotional. But yeah, the animation is fantastic. Scar is a phenomenal villain. I mean, when you get okay, the music. Let's get to the music.
Yeah.
If you get Hans Zimmer to do the score,
Yes.
El Elton John to do the musical numbers, and Tim Rice, who's a Broadway legend who's worked with Andrew Lloyd Webber on Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat and Jesus Christ Superstar and Evita, like Broadway legend. You get all three of those guys together to do this Disney movie. It's every song is a fucking banger.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted. And a funny thing about this movie is Disney basically put their B team on this movie because
Yes.
uh, the main animators and like Alan Menken and everybody else were put on Pocahontas,
Yeah,
which
they
came
thought
out.
Pocahontas was going to be a bigger hit.
Yeah. So yeah, if your bench includes Hans Zimmer, Elton John, and Tim Rice, then you're in really good shape. But yeah, for me, it's not only the best Disney movie of all time, it's in my top three movies of all time.
Yeah, I know it's one of your absolute favorites. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna get too deep into this because we're gonna do our favorite movies of all time in about a month or so because we're getting close to 100 episodes and we want to do something special for that. But man, I watched it again last night. Still just as enjoyable. All the musical numbers hit. Uh, all the voice acting's incredible. I mean, god damn,
Yeah.
you got James Earl Jones and
Yes.
Jeremy Irons
Yeah.
as the two foils in the first act, and
Yeah, as you said, like Scar is an amazing villain, but without Jeremy Irons doing the voice of Scar, I mean, it still would have been good, but he just elevates it to a whole other level. Jeremy Irons just incredible voice work in this, and then James Earl Jones is just James Earl Jones. Like
yeah,
there was no voice that ever was like his.
yeah, you got Darth Vader and Mufasa.
Yeah, yeah, like the most commanding presence.
Yeah, for good or evil, like
Yeah, yeah.
you'll do whatever he says. It's good or evil, but yeah, and I think this is the era where the animators were kind of tailored, as you said with Robin Williams, there was kind of sort of tailoring to the actor,
Mm,
and that really shows up with Jeremy Irons' interpretation of Scar because he's so I don't know debonair but so evil at the same time. He has that kind
mhm.
of that sadistic charm, if I can turn a phrase, but yeah,
Yeah.
just and King of Pride Rock at the very end is one of the greatest climaxes of any movie I've ever seen. Just so powerful.
Well, interestingly, the very opening scene, which is the whole Pride
Circle of
Rock and
Life, yeah.
they yeah, Circle of Life and lifting up Simba there, the baby lion. I had mentioned when I talked about Zootopia that one of the early trailers for that was just the DMV scene. What the very first trailer that they released for The Lion King was just that opening.
Mm,
And again, and the reaction to that gave them a hint that, oh, actually, this is going to be really big. Because as you
yeah.
said, they thought they were putting most of their attention on Pocahontas. They thought that was the big story. And then when they started hearing some of the reactions to that opening scene from The Lion King, that's when they started to realize, oh, damn, we could really have something on our hands here.
All right, yeah. So I will put a cork in The Lion King because I could go on about these movies for an hour and we're running about an hour and 15 minutes already. So uh great episode though. Really enjoyed having that conversation.
Yeah.
I'm glad you put that forward because I feel like it'd be selfish if I did it. So next week we're doing best acting performances of the year. We're not exactly sure how we're gonna quantify that yet, but tune in and we'll see you next week on Unsolicited Film Reviews. I'm Zach Miller. He's Martin Cooke. We'll see you, folks.
Hi, everyone.